Hong Kong's people had no say in the decision to impose a new security law on this city. That, though, was not a concern among people we spoke to in the North Point district, where many mainland immigrants live.
Of course we will have peace now. Hong Kong's been so chaotic. The protesters even went to the United States to ask them to put sanctions on Hong Kong. What a mess they have made.
The young may have different thoughts, but for us, the elderly, the law will make our country prosperous and stable.
But other elderly people are fearful.
I'm scared the communists because no freedom for the speech, no freedom for democracy, so scared.
Since 1997, when Hong Kong was returned from British to Chinese rule, this city has operated under a unique one country, two systems formula, intended to guarantee the city's legal, political and economic arrangements. The question now is whether the experiment has failed. But local historian John Carroll insists that's not the case.
No sooner had the Sino-British Joint Declaration been signed in December of 1984, people were already talking about the death of Hong Kong. And I mean, that's been going on for years and years and years. And Hong Kong is not dead, and I don't see Hong Kong dying soon.
China's leaders insist the new security law will save Hong Kong, not kill it. So the vote by China's parliament on Thursday to approve the law was never in doubt.
The central government has always emphasised the comprehensive and accurate implementation of one country, two systems, Hong Kong ruling Hong Kong, and its high degree of autonomy. It strictly follows the constitution and the basic law and supports the Hong Kong government and its chief executive to govern according to the law.
Bypassing Hong Kong's legislature, the rubber-stamped National People's Congress has now paved the way for mainland security agents to operate here. In marked contrast to these orderly scenes, there was more disruption in Hong Kong's parliament, when 3 legislators were ejected during a heated debate about another proposed law that would make it an offence to disrespect China's national anthem. Both measures have prompted demonstrations and a warning from the United States government that its special trading status with the city could be about to end, raising concerns about its continued status as Asia's leading financial centre. Adrian Brown, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
Well, a day after the US Secretary of State recommended that Hong Kong's special economic status should be revoked, the Chinese premier said Washington should stop interfering and instead work with Beijing.
Conflicts are inevitable. The question is how to treat them. The relationship between China and the United States has been volatile for decades. On the one hand, cooperation has been complicated and it requires wisdom to expand common interests and to control conflicts and differences. In short, we must respect each other, treat each other equally, respect each other's core interests and major concerns, and we should seek a win-win cooperation. This is beneficial to the world.
Well, KATRINA Yu is joining us live from Beijing. Let's talk about this law first of all. KATRINA, what do we know about the detail of it and when it's going to be put in place?
Well, China's National People's Congress passing this law essentially means that Beijing has now expanded its reach into Hong Kong. It now has the power to quash those pro-democracy protests that have been such a thorn in Beijing's side since they began in June. But we still don't know the exact details, and these will be hammered out over the next few weeks. What we do know is that when the law is completed, it will be inserted or amended in Hong Kong's basic law, which is its mini-constitution, and it will completely bypass Hong Kong's usual legislative process. So far, we know that there are 7 broad articles mentioned in this law. As you mentioned, banning subversion, secession, foreign interference, Chinese intelligence and police offices will also be set up in Hong Kong. And there also appears to be an element of patriotic education. Now, Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam has said that she welcomes the law and she will work with the central government to complete it and enact it. Now, she's widely seen to be a puppet of Beijing, and she did say that this law was imposed or put through by Beijing because Hong Kong's legislature was unable to do this. And we know after that it will be put into place or enacted as soon as maybe August or September.
Katrina, as we know, of course, this law has been criticized by many foreign countries, but of course, specifically by the US. Where does this leave the relationship between the US and China?
That's right. Several countries have expressed deep concern over this move by China, but the US has been loudest and strongest in its rebuke. Really, the US and China relationship has hit sort of an all-time low, one of the lowest points certainly it has been in decades. The US has made several threats to China because of this move. It's requested a UN Security Council meeting. It's also threatened to revoke Hong Kong's trading status. Well, we heard Premier Li Keqiang just earlier give his comments during a press conference to close the National People's Congress. He said that it's still important for China to work with the US, respect core interests, but as well as manage differences. He also went on to say that it's important that the two countries work economically together, that decoupling would only harm both sides and harm the world. But unfortunately, that has already started to happen. Long before this, it started with the trade war, as well with concerns over the coronavirus, the two sides as well pointing blame at each other. And now with this threat to revoke Hong Kong's trading status, that decoupling will only accelerate, unfortunately. Now, officials here say that they're preparing, or Beijing should prepare to engage in a financial war. And earlier this week, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that actually the two countries, even worse, had been brought to the brink of a new Cold War. Certainly, we know that after this move, the Chinese central government is planning its own countermeasures should the US follow through on those threats. And they've said that quite bluntly, they'll take whatever necessary measures they can to protect their sovereignty and their security.
Thanks, Katrina. Protesters in Taiwan have thrown their support behind Hong Kong's pro-democracy activists.
China government! Stand on you!
Student demonstrators have urged Taiwan's government to take more action to protect protesters in Hong Kong. The island's government has already promised to welcome those who leave Hong Kong due to political reasons, offering help from employment to counselling.